Hello everyone and welcome back to another Warner video and back to another top 5 video. We haven't done one of these in a while, but I had a good idea as we have talked a lot about high performing units and talked about a lot of well-known units of that, and today we're going to talk about high performing units or well performing units that are maybe a bit underrated. Like a lot of people know that the Book, for example, is one of the best, if not the best AA out there. But my number 5 is an AA unit as well. But people still underestimate it and people still don't play it. So let's start with my spot number 5. And let me know down below what your picks would be for most underrated units that perform really well. And yeah, if you like the video, also consider leaving a like down there. And let's start with the Rapier FSB2 Darkfire, as this unit has the highest base accuracy for any AA in the game. It has a solid rate of fire. It has the best anti-helicopter range as well, which it's not perfect at, but it still can help out with. As obviously it's a towed unit, so hunting down helicopters is not its job, but it can block out helicopters on the front line, and both for 4th and for MNET, that is pretty key. So the Rapier FSB2 Darkfire, it's insane. Like, you can upvet it to one vet where it goes to 75% accuracy, or if you go even higher, it goes to 80% accuracy if you put a CV next to it, or if you take it at 1 per card, but that's not really recommended. But the FSB2 Darkfire has decent availability. You still get 2 at 1 vet and 75% accuracy with radar, with meaning you even stack higher accuracy when the enemy gets closer. It means you basically don't miss if the enemy flies straight over you, and you don't even miss that often if they are a bit further away. And thanks to its good aim time, it also means that yes, it has a bit of a lower range, but it still will get its missile off as soon as something flies into that range. And the 6 damage also means it 2-shots everything basically out there. And that is pretty helpful as well. So yeah, good rate of fire. 6 ready missiles is a good number as well. It doesn't have to do the reload like a Roland or anything. And sure, 110 points is maybe somewhat expensive for a towed tool, but it's just such a good AA piece. And like, I still see people not respecting MNET's AA because they are like, it's an airborne division, it doesn't have the best fighters, so its air must be weak. But then they fly over you and they just lose everything to the 2 Darkfires you have out there. And 4th Armored, similar kind of picture. They try to hunt down your bomber phantoms and they just get annihilated. So yeah, slot number 5 here goes to the Darkfire. Let's move on to number 4. And on number 4 comes the D30 122mm artillery piece. As this one, on its base stats, doesn't look that great. And that makes sense. Like, it's 122mm DHE shells have a relatively slow AoE. Its range is mediocre. So most people just see it at 0 vet and don't take it. The thing with it though is that it has a 4-3-2 availability curve. And at 2 vet, this thing is already going pretty nuts because it has a 15-second aim time at that spot. It has a pretty low reload time as well. And that makes it super good at reacting to enemy movement and like getting enemy at under artillery fire really quick, setting up smoke screens really quick. Like, you are in the same aim time as a mortar with that point, and the mortar shells fly way slower. So setting up smoke then with a D30 is a lot easier as well. And the range is still decent. And with that, if you push closer, the accuracy is pretty decent as well. And that means you can take out ATGM teams or so quite quickly. And these pieces are pretty cheap. So D30s, if you use them correctly, they can be a really nice little reactive artillery piece. And yes, 122mm, the artillery shell itself could maybe get an AoE buff, but if you use them at 2 vet, they already are a nice reactive tool and a cheap way of getting some artillery out there that can smack the enemy quickly and get you into a good spot. And it's all around in the packed side. So if you want to have an artillery that can react quickly and help your push out in a pinch, the D30 is that, both with smoke play and with taking out key positions, for example, shooting down ATGM or Man-Pad squad. So, yep, D30 here on spot number 4 as a unit that gets looked upon a bit too much and that people just pick at 4 availability where, yep, it's neither here nor there. The reload time is too long, the rate of fire is a bit too slow, the aim time is not that great either, but as you get them as 2 vet, they actually become pretty solid, and you usually don't need more than 2 to do the job that you want out of them. So that's it. Let's move on to number 3. And on number 3, we have another AA unit, and that is the Gazelle Celtique, as this one is a fantastic AA and anti-helicopter unit, and even when I play against 11th Para, I don't see it enough, and I also don't see 11th Para in my eyes enough lately, and it's just such a murder machine when it comes to both shooting down helicopters and aircraft. Especially helicopters, it has fantastic accuracy and it has a fantastic anti-helicopter range, also outranging OH-58s, which you already see quite a couple of, but if you compare these to the OH-58, the OH-58 CE just has lower ranges, both against aircraft and against helicopter. The rate of fire here is a bit misleading, because that's just based on the reload time, but as they both have a 4 salvo length and the rate of fire in that salvo is the same, the Celtique is just better. They cost the same, the Celtique is faster, the Celtique has more range against helicopters and aircraft, and they both get the missiles out really quickly. So the Gazelle Celtique, fantastic little helicopter, beats all other AA helicopters, beats all recon helicopters quickly at the beginning of the game, and if you keep them at low altitude, they also shoot down planes that fly by really quickly as well. The extra range there, the 2650, is really big, and these guys just fantastic AA, fantastic for your little helicopter opener with 11th, and just quick all around good AA that can move around and stop enemy planes, stop enemy helicopters, and just an absolute murder machine. Gazelle Celtique on the battlefield, one of my favorite AA units, and yeah, just highly underutilized, both in team games and in 1v1s. And 11th Para, maybe a division that should have a bit more play lately as well. And yep, that brings us to unit number 2. And that unit number 2 is the LSV Milan. As people talk a lot about the Honkaroos, and people talk about the Humvee Delta, and maybe even the Dune Buggies in 9th, but I feel like both in play, even with MNET, and just in general talks, the LSV gets overlooked. This thing goes 100 km off-road, and it is special forces and forward deploy. Means gets the most forward possible deployment, and it comes as special force at 3 vet. Which, if you have a look here at the veterancy curve that goes for special forces, means that it gets 30% movement speed. So this thing moves with 130 km road speed and has the most forward deployable spot possible. Unlike the Honkaroos, unlike the Dune Buggies with 120 km base speed in the American 9th, and it already is faster than those. So that means this is the unit that reaches the front line first, every single time. The LSV 50 cal already is nice for that, can shoot down enemy recon units with its 50 cal, and it is pretty deadly there as well, because the special forces trait also gives these guys great rate of fire and great precision. So this also, on top of this, has a long range, and it can get into such key positions on the battlefield faster than any enemy could, and then shoot deadly missiles from there with great reload time. And like the reload time is pretty gnarly for an Milan launcher here as well, going down to 5.6 seconds. Aim time is down by a lot as well, and the accuracy is up to 66%. So this is a fantastic little beast that has very good optics instead of just good optics like some other recon vehicles as well. So this also sees the enemy and hits them with a Milan from far. And as I said, it is the fastest unit on the battlefield. It can get into spots no other recon unit can get into and fire a Milan onto the enemy deployment from there, giving Mnet such a massive speed boost. Is one of the reasons why I think Mnet is still underrated. Like, we have the Darkfire, we have the Gurkhas that got buffed with the Mountaineer trade lately, and I feel like Mnet really has a good shot. The buffs that it got in the past with the Scimitars and Scorpions getting buffed in it, their stealth in the tank tab and so on. Like, Mnet is such a powerhouse right now when it comes to light vehicle and infantry spam, and this LSV gives it the early spot advantage that it needs to do that, and that's why it is such a powerhouse here. And the number 2 for most underrated unit. And now we come to my number 1. So let's get ready. And that number 1 are the Rezervisti in the 157th Motostrelki, as these guys are pretty insane. They are 30-point infantry units that have a decent AT weapon, that have an MG, that only have reservist, no militia trait, and that can come with 1 vet or at 8 availability or 0 vet at 12 availability. With 1 vet, they go above their base stats. Like, they fix the accuracy and they get better aim and fire time. If you have the Commandantura close by, you get them even better. And 30 points for an infantry unit is with 8 hit points, that has a decent AT weapon, that has decent firepower. It's kind of absurd. And you even get them in a 15-point vehicle, which is cheaper than a truck, which gives you a bit of firepower as well, which has means that the enemy has to bring some AT and some capabilities to deal with it, annoying the enemy to no end as well. Otherwise, they sure won't get killed by a single one of these, but as you can bring 5 of these per minute and some, the enemy has to deal with them eventually. Otherwise, 5, 6, 7 of these will kill off an enemy infantry unit quite quickly as well. And with the Commandantura BTR, for example, close by, like, all of these guys just gonna get decent stats as well. So yeah, being able to bring them at 1 vet is big. Getting the great availability on these guys is big, and they're just absolute beasts. And everybody talks about the diff mob infantry, and the diff mob infantry is good. Don't get me wrong, but if we compare them here, the Belgian and with the Provinciers here coming along against the Rezervisti, like, the 10 points difference is pretty big, and the Rezervisti sure are fewer hit points, and that makes a 10 points difference there for the most part, but they have the better AT weapon as well, like the lot better AT weapon. So it means these guys you can send out there on their own against light vehicles in the forest and so on. They have good range, they have good accuracy, they have decent damage there. 14 damage is not that bad, but suppose you're with the Super Bazooka, you always need something to deal with enemy vehicles close by, because the Super Bazooka is not gonna do it. So Provinciers absolutely rightfully get seen as one of the most important infantry right now, but I think 157th in general gets slept on. Like, everybody understood the diff mob system now because it came out of nowhere. It won some tournament games and so on, and 157th hasn't done that, and I don't know why, because that division also has a lot of other good stuff, like cheap T-55s, the best fighter in the game with the T-10, Krooks, and like just good fire support with strong 203mm artillery, with the Barrack that has a great rate of fire and accuracy, and yeah, just one of the best infantry in the game, for sure the best packed infantry in the game here with the Rezervisti. So that's my number 1 spot. Let me know down below what yours is, and yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. See you all in the next one.